Okay, so today we're going to be making something called an enriched dough. This is just like a normal bread dough, except it also has eggs and sugar in it. And amongst other things, this can be used to make Swiss buns, donuts, and Chelsea buns, but today we're going to use it to make Devonshire splits. So here I have some room temperature milk, which I will add my instant yeast to, and my sugar. And then just give that a little stir. It doesn't really matter if all the yeast is actually dissolved or not yet, it will still work. Now we're just going to wait about 10 minutes or until we see a light foam or bubbles appearing at the surface of the milk. In the meantime, we're just going to sieve through our flour into a large bowl, and then as with any bread, we're just going to make a small well in the centre. And now we'll just wait 10 minutes whilst that yeast and milk does its thing. And now after 10 minutes, as I said before, you should see that light foam or bubbles appearing at the surface of the milk, and you can add in your salt. Don't worry here, you might hear people say that you should add your salt at the last minute, but it really doesn't make any difference, as you'll see later on in this video. Next up, just beat your egg until the yolk and the white are mixed together. And now pour in your yeast and milk mixture into your flour, followed by the egg and the melted butter. Now start incorporating the flour into the whey ingredients, and you'll notice that the dough is very sticky at this point, but don't worry, that is absolutely normal. Now flour a work surface and dump out all of your dough onto it. And as this is a very sticky dough, one of these dough scrapers is very helpful here. But you're just going to keep kneading this for about 10 minutes. Keep reflouring if you need to, but we want to keep the dough as soft as possible, so only add as much flour as you need to until it becomes tacky like this. If you add too much flour, the dough won't rise as much and you'll have dense buns. A good way to check if your dough is correct is by pressing it into a work surface and then lifting it up. It should stick, but it should come off as one whole piece. If you're at this point, then form it into a nice ball and you can cover it up for about an hour. It may take longer depending on the temperature of your kitchen, but either way it's ready when it's double in size. So now the dough's had a bit of time to rise, you're going to want to knead it lightly just for a minute or two, and then you're going to want to weigh it out into about 50 gram pieces. You could go bigger if you prefer your Devonshire splits slightly larger, but 50 grams is a good starting point. It's also a good idea to cover your pieces of weighed out dough with a damp tea towel. This will stop them from drying out and making them hard to shape later. Anyway, so grab yourself a baking tray lined with some baking paper, and to shape these you're going to want to fold them in on themselves until there is a smooth bottom to them, and then flip them over and roll them around in your hand until you achieve a nice round ball with no seams whatsoever. Remember, any seams that's on them will double in size later, so they'll be very obvious. If you struggle with shaping these, you can go and watch my bread shaping video, and that will explain exactly how to shape these into perfect round balls. So anyway, go and shape all of your dough into round balls, and as you can see here, I'm only using 4 a tray as I want to give them plenty of room to rise so they don't stick together. Now cover these and leave them to rise for another hour or until doubled in size. And now we'll bake them at 200 degrees centigrade or 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 12 to 14 minutes or until light brown. Once cooked, remove to a cooling rack and leave to cool until completely cold. And whilst you're waiting for these to cool down, you want to make your filling. So we're going to start by making something called creme chantilly. We're just going to whip some cream with sugar and vanilla. Again, I have a video on this you can go and watch if you're not confident doing it. But in short, you just add all the ingredients to a bowl and whisk until soft peaks. So if you look closely here, when I remove the whisk, you can see the peak of the cream just falls over on itself. If you go any further than this, your cream will look grainy when it's piped. Next job, just take any jam that you like and soften it by mixing vigorously in a bowl until smooth. And next up we need to make a cornet to pipe the jam with. Again, I've got a video for this, I'll put them all in the description below so you can find them easily. Now add some jam to your cornet, making sure you don't overfill it. And by now, hopefully your Devonshire splits have cooled down and you're ready to fill them. So start by cutting them in half nearly all the way, just leaving a little bit attached so that you can open them up without them falling in half. And start by piping a generous amount of your jam into the centre. And for this first design, we're going to fill the Devonshire split right to the top with piped cream. And then we're just going to pipe a few rosettes just coming above the Devonshire split itself. And then using your finger, you're just going to wipe all of the excess cream off level with the Devonshire split. And now cut a very small amount off the tip of your cornet and then pipe jam in a zigzag fashion all the way across your Devonshire split. Or alternatively, you could just pipe dots of this all the way across the cream for another finish. Okay, and now that's done, the last thing you want to do is dust it fairly heavily with some icing sugar. And that's it, you're done on this one. Okay, on to the next design, and there's not a lot to say about this one because it's very similar to the first. You're going to make your initial cut nearly all the way through, open it up and place in your jam. And then on this one we're just going to pipe one line of cream, followed by small rosettes all the way across. And then we'll finish with jam as we did before. And again, a fairly heavy dusting of icing sugar. And that's it, we're finished. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more content like this. See you next week.